These old photos tell part of the history of bluegrass music, lived by the woman who owns them.
That is our first group.
Her birth name was Margaret, but millions came to know her as Bonnie Lou. She and her husband Buster entertained millions through radio and television.
When Buster and I met, he was on radio in Asheville, North Carolina with the Carl Story group. And I was still in high school. My dad wanted my brother and me to go to Knoxville and audition for the merry-go-round. Well, I called Buster whenever I got to Knoxville to tell him we were over there, you know. He had a job at Oak Ridge entertaining the people on Wednesdays and Friday nights. And he said, I'll take Lloyd with me to do the show at Oak Ridge. And he said, after the show, said, I'll take you all home. From there, we started courtship up again, I guess.
The two married in 1945 and began playing music together.
Buster had a band. He was with the band at WROL for the Kaz Walker show. And one of the boys got sick, and I filled in for him. And after that, they wanted me to be part of the show.
Not only would the band change her life, but also her name.
He thought that Bonnie Lou and Buster would be, you know, more of a stage name than Margaret and Buster.
Friends, here he is, Lloyd Ding Dong Bell.
Thank you, Buster. Thank you.
My brother, Lloyd, he played a big part in our show all those years. In fact, he played straight to Hump Hammer, the comedian. Buster would walk off the stage and leave us out there to MC. Honey, I was scared to death.
What key were you in, Pepe? That's a good key.
We learned the hard way.
They traveled extensively throughout the Southeast, appearing on radio stations from town to town.
I think you better let that one go for the time being.
Earl David West.
Part of it.
Yeah, okay.
We got along well. Buster was easy to get along with.
You gonna have the rest of the boys to help you, or would you like to do it by yourself?
And we'd worked radio for years and years. You know, we'd work a station for a couple of years and play a lot of the local schools, and then we'd move on to another station.
In those days, television was in its infancy. Bonnie Lou says her husband could not ignore its potential.
Buster said, we've got to move, said we've got to get in television because we don't know what that's going to do to the radio shows. We stayed there for 9 years, Channel 11, and then we moved our operation to Knoxville and started with home building. Jim Walter kept the show for 21 years.
The show went into syndication as Jim Walter Jubilee and was seen all over the Southeast.
We were on 5 stations. We'd have to drive like to Nashville, Chattanooga, Bluefield, West Virginia, 5 nights a week and do them live. Well, when we were able to get tape, you know, we could go to the stations and take 2 shows at a time. And they'd bicycle them to different stations, and we ran mostly in the Southeast. We would do country, bluegrass, gospel, clogging. Now that was the big thing in our show.
Everything's quiet in the studio today, and it's hymn time. And
That was one of the best parts of the show, I thought.
The show became so popular that in 1972, Bonnie Lou and Buster opened their Hayride show at the Coliseum Theater in Pigeon Forge.
There was nothing there much then. On TV, to educate them as to where our show was, we'd say it was about 5 miles north of Gatlinburg, because everybody knew where Gatlinburg was. But it's changed now. It really is. Everybody knows where Pigeon Forge is now.
After nearly 50 years and countless hours of radio, television, and live performances, Bonnie Lou and Buster decided to retire.
thank you.
We closed a TV show out in '94, and then in about '95, we closed the Coliseum. We retired and had 1 year, Buster had 1 year retirement before he had a heart attack and died.
After Buster's death in 1996, Bonnie Lou settled into a quiet life here in East Tennessee.
I've not done anything in music since Buster died. I sing in the choir at church. Of course, I enjoyed the music business, and the people that we were associated with, but I don't think much about it now.
But she's thankful to the many fans who remember her and Buster and their band's contribution to the world of music.
I just appreciate them. I really do. A lot of people say I grew up watching the Bonnie Lou and Buster show. It was our living. You know, we had to make a living, and that was it.
Thank you. Thank you, Lloyd. That's a good song.